Welcome to FRCmedia News for Thursday, February 4th, 2016. I'm Keith Tebow. On this week's show, we're going to be focusing on job prospects in Fall River. We'll talk with Joe Viana at the Fall River Career Center on the city's unemployment numbers and how they get people back to work. Office of Economic Development Head Ken Fiola will talk on the progress of the Amazon construction. And State Representative Alan Sylvia hints at the prospects of locating a clothing company in the city. Let's kick off things as we will do week in and week out by being joined by Will Richmond, Digital City Editor at the Herald News. Will, thanks for joining us. Another week here, week two.
Hey, thanks for having me, Keith, and looking forward to week number 2 here.
I guess we should start by talking weather. As we're taping this show and it airs on Thursday night, the city is bracing for another snowstorm, which is expected to hit overnight tonight into Friday. And the early indications are maybe up to 6 inches of snow, but the city has already issued a parking ban that will go into effect at 11 p.m. tonight. Is that correct?
That's correct, 11 p.m. tonight. And so, of course, that means in general, avoid parking on the side of the street with fire hydrants.
Yeah, all I got to say about that is, didn't the groundhog this week tell us we were going to have an early spring?
That, wasn't it close to 60 degrees on Monday or something in that area?
And even as we're doing this, it rained earlier today on Thursday, and it was in the 50s. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how, I guess it's going to get cold in a short period of time, enough for us to have snow. But anyway, just keep following along online and get the latest weather information as we move forward for the storm coming up this evening and tomorrow on Friday. All right, well, let's get to some of the other news items of the week. The Fall River School Committee is moving forward on its search for a new superintendent of schools. Last night at a special meeting, they voted to move forward a request for proposals, an RFP, which will go toward hiring a firm which will conduct the search. Is that pretty much how that's going to work? They're going to actually pay for a separate entity to conduct the search and go through some of the resumes?
Yeah, I think the idea is to get a firm in to help, and there'll be the search will go through. Certainly this helps to ensure that you're getting a wide breadth of candidates. I know it's been mentioned that the pool of prospective superintendent candidates in Massachusetts is potentially thin at this time. So they may be looking to cast a wider net outside of the Commonwealth.
And I know that the cost of this, the city is looking to spend between, I think, $10,000 and $12,000. I'm sure there are some people out there who may say, why doesn't the city just do it on its own? Did they talk about that?
Yeah, even to do it on your own, you still need to advertise if you're going to place advertisements in publications that are focused on educators. If I think back to the 2005 hire of Nick Fisher, the last time the district did a search for a superintendent, they placed advertisements in the Boston Globe, I believe the New York Times. Those kinds of things cost money as well. So there's no way you can do this as a free process and expect to get top-level candidates to see what's out here.
And I know that the committee is looking to expedite the process with current superintendent Meg Mayo Brown stepping down at the end of June. Are they hopeful to have someone in place by that time? I know that was brought up at the meeting last night.
I think it seems that's not quite known at this time. Right. It may be a matter of availability, who applies. There could be an interim situation for a short time. But I think that will be part of the process to be sort of borne out here as we go forward.
So they hope to have this RFP process completed in the next couple of weeks. Is that correct, toward the end of February?
Correct.
Okay. So we'll just have to follow it along, and we will as this show progresses in the coming weeks. In a related school department matter, the state Commonwealth of Massachusetts, in its budget process, has listed that the city of Fall River, in terms of it meeting net school spending next fiscal year, come July 1st, that number is going to be about $133 million. How does that compare to what's happening this year? And I know there's still some questions about net school spending for this current fiscal year.
Yeah, there is the question as to just how up to date and at the 100% level Fall River is for the net school spending amount. This has been an ongoing problem in Fall River for I think it's the past two fiscal years now, where net school spending has been plagued by issues related to health insurance costs and how that factors in. So, this is the annual increase that the state requires
Right.
of school districts to ensure that money is being spent in schools and that it's an amount that is needed. But we'll have to see how the administration will build this into the total municipal budget and sort of absorb these increases.
Now, the Commonwealth comes up with these every year. Is it based on a community by community basis? Is there an increase that's proportional? Do you know how that works?
Well, the net school funding formula is probably one of about maybe a half dozen formulas I think the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education uses for ed funding. It has to do, I believe, with student population.
Okay.
Um, Factored in with local contributions versus state contributions, what is eligible for net school spending versus what is not eligible for net school spending. There's a lot of factors that go into that number at the end of the day.
And I'm sure the formula is multiple pages in length. I'm sure it's not as simple as simple as we think it should be. So anyway, all right, moving on to other stories this week. You guys reported just yesterday that there has been an outside firm in the city of Fall River for a few weeks, I believe, since the mayor took office, looking at the city's trash collection process with the thought that maybe Mayor Correa will be looking at privatizing trash. What can you add to this?
Yeah, well, certainly Mayor Correa made the privatization of trash collection a serious consideration through the campaign, and he has carried that into his administration as he tries to reorganize the Department of Community Maintenance. One of the things he's looking at is the feasibility on a fiscal sense of privatization. Do the numbers work out for the city? And it seems the first process in this is he's brought in an outside firm from a company in Illinois that has experience with this to have them run the numbers. They are going through DCM books. They're riding along with DCM employees and kind of getting a sense of what's happening in Fall River to see if this would work here.
And it seems, according to the article, that the rank and file workers, union workers for the city, haven't really been too pleased with having this company tag along.
Yeah, I think anytime you bring someone in from the outside to observe people's jobs, that can rankle employees.
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me on their end. But the matter is this fiscally prudent for the city? Will it benefit trash pickup, make it a better service? And then in the end, will it go to a company that can implement what may be reported on here and ensure that it's a fair contract that's going to benefit the city and the residents?
And obviously, this is something that will probably be part of Mayor Correa's budget as he starts developing the fiscal 2017 municipal budget, and also part of his reorganization. So this is something obviously we'll continue to follow as the weeks move ahead. One other thing concerning budget and saving of money, it was actually through the paper, there was an advertisement by the city to, again, another RFP, if you will, to try to seek input into a wellness center in the city of Fall River, the city for its employees, something that the city feels it will save money on its health insurance costs down the line. Fill us in on the specifics of that.
Yeah, well, certainly this is something I think we see a lot more in private industries,
Right.
whether you have on-site gymnasium or gyms or workout availabilities. Some towns have started to do things on a smaller scale, starting up walk-in programs, and I think that's even happening on a limited scale here in Fall River. But the idea is, if employees are healthier, you have less sick days. That means you're getting better bang for your buck, that people are actually at work instead of home sick and getting paid. So that's a benefit. That would be a benefit to the city if you have lower health insurance costs or health costs through people missing days, spending time in the hospital, seeking health care. that can possibly lower health insurance costs for the city. So the potential is there for a win-win. Certainly, there's a lot of details to still be known on this
Right.
effort to know if it could be a cost positive for Fall River. But maybe that's something we'll learn more as the RFP process goes forward and we start to hear from consultants on just how feasible this is here.
And then one of the sites under consideration is the Bank Street Armory, which was home to CD Rec for many years, and it's had its structural issues, if you will. So that'll be, again, part of the whole process if the city decides to go there. All right, Will, what is on the plate for the Herald News coming up this weekend and early next week?
Well, certainly coming this weekend, our big Sunday feature, reporter Brian Fraga spent a shift with one of the EMS crews here in Fall River recently to kind of get a sense as to what they're battling when it comes to the city's opioid issues. They're among the sort of frontline responders. They're among the group that are the first to respond when a call comes in if someone is OD'd or appears to be in serious medical condition. So it's a real interesting look at the struggles they encounter, the people they encounter, and even beyond that, some of the more routine calls they take, and just how that factors into the busyness that they deal with on top of the opioid issues. And then next week we'll continue looking into what's happening across Greater Fall River.
All right, and of course, this Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, not the kind of Super Bowl we would like to have had here in New England with the Patriots falling short a week ago, but it's still this Sunday, so enjoy the game, and we'll talk next week, Will. Thanks a lot for joining us.
No problem. Yeah, this Sunday will be food and commercials, I think, for a lot of people.
That's right. Don't have to focus on the game as much. All right, Will, thanks a lot.
All right, thanks, Keith.
We'll have more of FRC Media News right after this.
Here's the latest hot jobs list for the week of February 1st through February 6th. Security officer, job number 675-7755. Assistant store manager, job number 678-9793. Behavioral consultant, PhD, license ELI, job number 681-2984. Controls technician, job number 681-8855. Dialysis care technician, job number 678-5698. For more information on all these jobs and many more, call the Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000. Welcome back. Last week it was reported that Fall River's unemployment rate sits at 8%. FRC Media News editor Donna Mata sat down with the director of Fall River's Career Center to delve more deeply into what the numbers mean and how the Career Center helps those unemployed get back to work. We're talking with Joe Vienna, the director of the Fall River Career Center here on North Main Street, and we are talking about unemployment figures. I'd like to actually put a better spin on that and say employment figures, because according to you, back in 2010, the city of Fall River was in tougher shape than now.
Yes, we can see that during the recession, the higher numbers were present. And in 2010, the unemployment rate in this area, in Fall River specifically, was 14.2. Since then, it's been on a downward trend, which is very, very good to see. Went down to 13%, then 12%, then 10%, and now this particular year, at this particular point in time, it is 8%. So clearly, a lot of work still needs to be done. We always need to improve our efforts to employ people, but certainly if you look at the analysis of data for the last several years, it is on a downward trend, typically associated with the recovery that's going on, not just here, but certainly in the state and the United States, and I think globally. So I think as things go forward, we hope that that will improve as well.
Now, what kind of opportunities are available here in Fall River? I mean, just job-wise. It's not just customer service. It's not just automotive repair, that sort of thing.
Sure, there's a variety of opportunities, and I think the greatest thing that we have is a variety because people come with different skills, aptitudes, and interests, and certainly the jobs also reflect that. I can tell you from the list that I just pulled for the month of January, production occupations are topping the list. Construction and extraction occupations as well, office and administrative. Interesting that sales and related occupations are also high, and installation, maintenance, and repair. Now, these typically over the course of time switch between other opportunities involving healthcare and communication and IT. So we have an influx of jobs at a regular level. I can tell you that the levels have been higher this year than before. So we always get great postings from our employer community, and really the opportunities are always present. People have to avail themselves of these opportunities, and we here at the Career Center work with both the job seekers as well as the employers. Our job is to make that match as quickly as possible and get people back to work as much as possible.
So, in a sense, you're a middleman.
Indeed, we're a broker from both sides. The employer tells us this is what we're looking for. We're looking for someone who shows up to work every day, who's going to be there on time, who has great customer service, who can deal with teamwork and produce for the company, and then specific things about their company that they're looking for. We, on the other hand, when we deal with the people here at the Career Center who come here every day looking for work, whether they're in the job club or the computer lab or working with our staff, we try to make those matches. We try to make sure that they may even get some skills training if they need it, if they're eligible for it, before that next job. Look at any credentialization that might be helpful. And the best thing we do is provide that mix. For the general population who just wants to come in and look for work because they don't have a computer or they want access to faxes, copiers, phones, etc., our resource center has a lot of tools available for people to work towards employment, because it is difficult to look for employment. It is a competitive market. It's a very difficult situation. It's also very stressful. People have to work at it. And I think in our area, what we do here as well is we give a support mechanism for people and encouragement to try to get them to be confident for that next job, because that is part also of making a sale for an employment opportunity.
It's been some time since Fall River has seen a company move into the area promising dozens of jobs for local residents. But such is the potential for Amazon, still in the opening stages of building a fulfillment center in the South Coast Life Science and Technology Park in the city's north end. Donna spoke with Fall River Office of Economic Development Executive Vice President Ken Fiola on the project's progress and prospects.
Now, there's some talk that there were going to be 1,000 jobs, then 500, then it's back to 1,000 jobs. What are the statistics?
So officially, we're still stating 500. I think it's going to be more than that. They made a couple of modifications in the design, which leads me to believe that they're going to be handling more in different types of packages than they originally represented that they would. So I think you're probably going to see somewhere between 500 and 1,000. Parking is going to, the number of parking spaces is in excess of 1,200. So, obviously, you always want to have a little bit more parking, but if it was only 400 or 500 jobs, I don't think you'd put that much parking in. So I think you're going to see at the end of the day, a very good, strong representation of employment opportunities there.
Do Fall River residents have first bid, so to speak? I mean, will they get preference over someone from out of the
There is
city?
a preference, but it's just that it's a preference, so it's not a right. So obviously, in order to become employed at Amazon, you need to adhere to 3 basic criteria. 1 is having a high school education. 2, the ability to pass a drug test. And 3, the ability and willingness and wantingness to actually work and also accept overtime. So the job itself, I think, is going to represent opportunity for people. The average wage scale is going to be somewhere around $35,000 excuse me, annually. It's also going to include a very generous benefit package, as well as a educational assistance incentive for those people that want to go out and actually go to BCC, most likely, to further their education in the technology field. So if you look around the country where these facilities are located, you'll see that they typically tend to understate the amount of employees that they're anticipating, and what's the old adage, under promise, over deliver, or something like that. So I think they're going to be a very good company for the city, and I think it's going to be able to provide those job opportunities for people that, for whatever reason, never had the opportunity to go to college. But are hardworking people in search of a job. I think Amazon's going to be a tremendous opportunity for them.
We'll be hearing more from Mr. Fiola on a myriad of other topics in the coming weeks. State Representative Alan Sylvia has also been working on behalf of his constituents to promote the city to prospective new employers.
Thank you very much, Keith. I'm here with State Representative Alan Sylvia. Again, thank you very much for coming and for giving us your time. Talk about this exciting new venture with economic development.
Well, this is something that's been in the works for some time, several months. Actually, before the mayor was sworn in, I was at the State House and I was approached by an individual, Catherine Hillenbrand, who is the principal owner of the Good Clothing Company of Cape Cod. And she was interested in some of our mill space. And she's in the apparel industry. And this has evolved now to something that's very exciting. PBS is doing a film, and several people in the community have already been playing a role in that process. They're reaching out to individuals, some of those people who actually worked in the garment industry, who are now in their late 70s and 80s. I actually worked in the garment industry.
Okay.
This is sort of a rebirth of the garment apparel industry in Fall River. There's so much mill space in Fall River, millions of square footage of mill space that is really a low cost in comparison to what the apparel industry is paying in other parts of the country for use of space to manufacture clothing. This is very inexpensive. So people who are in this industry in New York, in California, and other parts of the country have suddenly taken an interest. And the mayor has already agreed to work with this individual in this company. Right now, 12 full-time positions. And they'll be manufacturing apparel. We believe in the Lamport Mill building. And they have 1 year. They'll also be doing some retail space. They'll have some retail space where they'll retail the garments that they're producing. What's exciting to me is that this is the original intention of what these mills were made for in the 1800s.
That's right.
So we're really coming back full circle to what Fall River was. Not everyone gets a 4-year college degree, and not everyone can work in the bio industry. There are lots of people who need to work, and these are the jobs that pay $15 and $16 an hour. And it's a beginning. We hope that this is going to be something that's going to take shape, and we're at its early stages right now, but I'm excited about it.
And what kind of clothing are we talking about?
Oh, the whole gambit of hoodies and blouses and skirts, and they'll be displaying some of those things that they're going to be producing here in Fall River. And this has just happened, so there'll be more news about this in the near future.
That's really very exciting.
It is.
Thank you very much, Alan Sylvia. We appreciate you being here.
You're very welcome.
Back to you, Keith.
We'll be back with more FRC Media News right after this.
This is Winston. He's a 9-year-old terrier mix. He's very, very energetic for an older guy. He has the energy of a puppy. He's really friendly, loves a lot of attention. Need a little bit of a refresher on house training when he goes home, but very affectionate and lovable little companion. This is Ebony. She's the cool cat of the week. She's a 7-month-old domestic short hair. She is very playful, a lot of fun. She just has an all-around great little personality. She loves to cuddle and she loves attention, and she really gets along well with other cats.
Keeping with the jobs theme of the program, Bristol Community College this week held an event to encourage current and future students to focus on a career path to improve their likelihood of gainful employment.
I'm talking to Deborah Cohn, the Dean of Academic Advising here at the Fall River main campus of BCC. And we're in G Building where there is a majors fair going on. And can you explain a little bit about what that is?
Sure. So this is our first annual Majors Fair, and it's an opportunity for our faculty to present their programs of study and for students to come over and learn a little bit about what programs we offer here at the college.
Now, I understand that when you're a student and you're at a community college, it may be difficult to come up with a major. How do you help these students actually decide on one?
That's a great question. Actually, it's really quite a bit of talking to them to find out where their area of interest is, where their strengths are, and then we sort of guide them based on what they respond to us with as to where we feel they might excel. And then so they have an opportunity to actually go talk to the different faculty members and probe a little bit more in depth into that particular program of study to see whether or not they feel it would be a good fit. And then if they think that it might be a good fit, then the next step would be when they register for classes to maybe have them take an intro to nursing class or an intro to computers class, whereby they have more exposure to that particular field. And then from there, they could pursue that program of study if in fact they find that that was a good fit for them.
Now, it's interesting because there are many different majors that BCC offers, but you do have still general studies. That's still open to students, correct?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, general studies happens to be probably our biggest program that students pursue, and then a lot of them will then move on to a 4-year institution to get their bachelor's degree.
Now, this is the first time you're holding this fair, and it's wrapping up at least for the afternoon. How did it go?
It went very well. I'm very thrilled with the turnout. We had a lot of students come by and check out our program, and the faculty were very engaged with their programs and what we have to offer. So I'm delighted by the turnout and very happy that it was as successful as it was.
Thank you very much for your time, Deborah.
Thank you very much.
I'm Donna Mata, FRC Media News.
That's it for this edition of FRC Media News. We're looking for story ideas and community information that we can share on the show. We're also seeking community members to volunteer to help us gather news. If you want to learn more, contact Donna Mata at donna@frmedia.org. FRC Media News is produced once a week, airing Thursday and Friday at 6 p.m. But our online news site is available 24/7 at frcmedianews.org. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Thursday.